Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Gamers Grind podcast. Joining me today is they came back. They were here last time, but they're back again. We got Black Guy Gamer, the Black Guy Gamer, and we got Lore Master 95. How are y'all boys doing today?
I almost busted my ass. Oh my god. I don't know what Quante is doing, but I'm pretty sure he didn't die.
I unplugged my headphones when I was trying to be stupid as well. So we all died.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Oh my gosh, it's been a week. It's been one hell of a week. Lots of ups and downs. Country's on fire, a little bit. But ultimately, we're still here. We're still here to just enjoy some good ass games.
What you been enjoying this week, though?
What have I been enjoying this week? I've been in a little bit of my Hearthstone grind. You know, I don't really play I've never really been one to play Hearthstone, but when my friends got me into Hearthstone Battlegrounds, it was just like, okay, y'all just put me on something. And I found myself just playing so much just recently. Not even because I want to be good at the game. It's because I just want to... It's just a good way to waste time, if that makes any sense.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Man.
Oh my
I've
god.
been playing a lot of Genshin. Genshin's good. I should play that game.
That's a good game.
Yes, I agree.
Because I've never played Genshin before.
Why are you refusing to come to the dark side is what I don't understand.
There's two reasons. One reason is that I believe that if I put another 10,000 megabyte game on my laptop, it'll explode. And two, I'm probably waiting to upgrade my spaceship. So I'm most likely gonna wait until I build my PC to download Genshin.
That makes sense.
Like, it's not even the issue of just like clearing off a bunch of stuff like that I don't even play, because I can do that with Steam games and all that stuff like that. But why would I get sucked into playing a gacha game with waifu? Like, I love anime. I love anime tits.
Look at your posters in the background. Don't tell me you don't like anime.
I love anime, but like I can't
Listen, you have a My Hero poster in your background. Tell me that is not the grossest thing ever.
I have other posters that I haven't hanged up yet. I'm gonna probably post up with the high school team.
I like My Hero. My name is Black Guy Gamer.
My name is Black Guy Gamer. I like My Hero. Look at me, I'm quite
Oh Lord, Jesus. So I can see y'all are having a good time. Y'all are having a good time. I'm loving the vibes already. But yeah, I will say, BGG, your wall looking kind of bare. Your room's looking kind of empty. You're gonna need to step it up. Step it up.
If the next time I'm gonna have a bunch of anime pictures in the background, there's the reason why I didn't decorate my whole house yet, is because I'm partly ashamed of all the stuff. Like, wait, what's that player's name? Remember like you would go to conventions and like there was this back in Smash 4 he used to play
Magister.
Villager.
Those are his posters.
Magister. There we go.
He made the Pyra and Mithra poster behind me. He drew those.
Oh yeah, he's a very good artist.
Yeah, I mean, I got these at Smash and Splash 5 actually. We were all there, but I had to buy them, even though Xenoblade 2 has very I guess risque is the best word to use character designs. I think he did a good job. Yeah, well, you got to support the artist grind, because they got it hard out there too. So I was like, let me buy these, and I mean, they're on the wall, so I'm making use of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the thing though. It's just like, I don't know how many people I'm gonna have in my house, and most of the art that I selected when I lost in the Monday matches to him, oh baby.
Hey.
Oh.
This is a PG stream.
Yes. Oh, you want a PG stream, but you want my wall to be decorated with anime girlfriend.
Oh my gosh.
retweeted that just now.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. If you guys are just tuning in, please feel free to retweet the stream. Let's get some people in here. With all that aside, I've been thinking a lot. Cause a lot of if you guys follow my Twitch page, I talk about a lot of random things. And one of the things that I really thought about, and it was because I was thinking of I was having a conversation with Lore Master, and I sat down for a moment. I thought to myself, "Damn, Lore Master, where the heck did you get a tag like that?" So I want to know, fellas, what's the origins of your tags? Where do they come from? Because gamer tags, they kind of like those are kind of something that you make your gamer tag and you can go through like 6 or 7, but there's one gamer tag that'll just stick with you, and it's there for life. You're stuck with it. You can't leave it. So I want to know where did Lore Master come from? Where did the Black Eye Gamer come from?
For one, that last statement is not true. You can change that thing at any time.
This is true.
And second, he has to go first. He has to.
Why do I have to go first? Mine is actually a story.
Mine is
Mine's
actually.
like
Mine is a story.
Mine is a story. So you go
There-
first.
There's lore behind
I'll
mine
go
as
first.
well.
There's
first.
lore
I'll go
behind
first.
the master. So
Ooh.
you gotta go first.
Okay.
Yeah, sure, fine, whatever. Okay, so back in the day, beforehand, my tag used to be Josonic 777X, and that was back in the day when like having numbers in your username was cool. And I was like 13 years old, and it was like my first 2 letters of my first 2 names. Which, fun fact, my first name's not Kendall; it's actually Joshua. I hate it. It was just J-O and then Sonic and combine those together, and it was like 777. I love those numbers. It's like lottery numbers or whatever, and then X because Sonic X was like what I was watching when I was a kid. And in high school, I had that tag all the way through high school until I was just like, man, this tag is really lame. I don't want to use it anymore. What kind of tag would I use? And I was just like, kind of like food do I like? I like watermelon. I like chicken. So I was just like coming up with stupid tags and stuff like that, but it never really stuck with me. And then my sophomore year in high school, I was playing football,
Mm-hmm.
and we were just coming from practice or whatever. And one day, my friend Shay, he was like, "Hey, yo, there's gonna be a brawl tournament after school, after football practice. You should enter." And I was like, "Oh, really?" Because I always wanted to enter a Smash tournament, and so I was like, "Okay, cool, I'll enter." And so I entered, and they were just like, "What's your tag gonna be, bro?" And after that, I was like, "Mine's is like Chief Master 6000." And then like Shay is just like, I just put Shay. And I was just like, I guess Strongman, because at the time I wanted to be the school strongest because of Dragon Ball Z bullshit. That's a completely different story. So I just made my tag Strongman. And, I wasn't bad at Brawl. I was okay. I wouldn't say I was an expert or whatever, but whatever. So we enter the tournament, and everything's going fine. And, I beat my teammates. I beat, some kids. And then I make it to winners round 4 or winners semis or whatever. And it's against this kid that's like, he's a senior. He's a senior in the school, and everybody knows that he's really good at the game or whatever. And he's playing Meta Knight. And I'm just playing as King DDD because King DDD had the chain grab, and I thought that was pretty cool. And I don't know what happened, but I ascended playing that kid. And like, it was so funny because I was doing stupid garbage, and like, he was getting very angry. I could just sense the energy of him just getting very angry and just like, jolting around and stuff like that. And so like, it got to a point where I took the second game. I took the first game and went into game 2. And I took his first stock, and he got so angry, and he was just like, I should not be losing to this freaking black kid. And then everyone in the crowd gasped. And then there's Khalil and Shale. They're just like, oh! And Khalil gets up and is like, hey, that's my boy, the Black Guy Gamer. You better recognize. I'm sitting there and I'm playing the game, and I'm like, the Black Guy Gamer. That's a pretty cool tag. I like it. So I beat Buddy. Buddy walks out. I never see him again. And I make it to grand finals, and I play against this kid. who also played Meta Knight, and he smushed me. And he was just like, "Yo, you should play Smash. It was really cool playing you. I didn't know athletes played video games or whatever." And I was just like, "Oh, I know my video game lore or whatever." And I became really good friends with him. And then after that, it was just like Shay was just like, "You made that kid really mad," and I'm just like, "Yeah, Black Guy Gamer." And everyone was just like calling me the Black Guy. Everyone just kept calling me the Black Guy Gamer, so I just adopted it, and that's why I am the Black Guy Gamer, because some kid got really salty playing me in Smash, and I was like, "Yeah, the Black Guy Gamer." If I never went to that tournament, my tag would be Strongman, and I guarantee you I would not change it.
Okay,
It's not a bad one.
That was a great story. Yeah. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
I didn't choose the tag. The tag chose me. That's with most nicknames, actually. Some realization.
That makes
sense. Sometimes that's the best part. So mine is a bit dumb, but before I go into the lore master part, I went through like a billion, I guess, tags I could call them before I actually settled on this one. And this one is even kind of bad because the lore behind it is like very stupid. But I started out, my very first one was just Quante95, which is just my name with the numbers, because like he said, numbers were cool. And it's so unoriginal that it's literally just my birth year in my name. Gotcha. And there you go. And it's like Quante, like nobody has that name. So I was like, yeah, nobody will have this, and it sounds original enough. But then eventually I was like, well, I started going to Smash tournaments too. Everybody else had cool names. I was like, how do you think of these names? And I had one of those situations where the tag chose me. There was a guy that I went to college with, and he called me Quantissimo. And I used that for a little while before I was just like, I stopped being friends with that guy because I found out he was hot garbage. And I was like, well, I'm not using this tag anymore. And I had to find something else. Bayonetta was going to come out, and I was like, I love Bayonetta. I remember being very, very excited for that character when Smash 4 dropped. And that didn't last long because of all the stuff that happened with Bayonetta. But my tag when that happened was Umbra, because she's an Umbran witch. And that lasted for probably all of like maybe 3 months before I decided to change it. And now we're here to... well, I went by Q-Tip for a long time too. But then we get here at Lore Master, and this one is real stupid because it's Kirby related.
Oh gosh.
So there's a character in Kirby. He's like, you've had 10 years to play this game, but Magalore is a character in Kirby Return to Dreamland, and he's like the coolest final boss in the Kirby series. So I just took the last 3 letters of his name. But Kirby is also a series known for having deep lore. So I was like, hell yeah, dude, a double meaning. And then Lore Master. I just put it all together, and it seemed good. But I still have the 95 because somebody had it taken.
But that is literally the worst. That is literally the worst. I remember in almost every tag I've ever tried to make on like a website or like an online site, Choco Taco is a very common tag. It's a very common tag for some people to have, or at least I guess there's always a Choco Taco in every community. So it was I could never get the original, so I always had numbers behind my name. But since y'all were so gracious to let me hear the stories of your tags, my tag, well, I had a couple growing up. So I think it was like middle school. I got my PS3, and I wanted to play with my friends online. I didn't really know what to put my name as, and to this day, I'm haunted by that name simply because I can't change it. I can't change it from PSN, and that is Bolt Striker 5. What was the reasoning for it? I thought it was cool. I thought it was a cool name. It had some kind of connection to it had some kind of connection to the Mega Man Star Force series. That's where I thought of it. But I remember I threw it out there, and I think going into high school, I remember I would like add my friends on PSN, and I would just cringe every single time I put it in. Mm-hmm. But we go into high school. Now, high school, for most like PE classes in high school, they like to do little seasons, quote unquote seasons, where they'll have like this time we're doing basketball, this time we're doing baseball. So this time they were doing football, and I'm a freshman in high school. My class has like the seniors in there as well, and I really wanted to like make an impression because you want to fit in, you want to look good. So they're making the teams, and I go up to them. We're just all chatting, and I say a joke. I'm just like, "Hey, by the end of this, you guys are gonna be calling me Chocolate Thunder," because I am saying that I'm fast, which I was not fast. I was not fast. but one time, the team was extra slow, and I remember running really quickly. I slipped and I caught the ball. It was like a full, a touchdown and everything. Because of that, the seniors started calling me Chocolate Thunder. Or they were juniors at the time. Going, now, all throughout high school, people would come through the halls, call me Chocolate Thunder. I remember there was a class, like I had a photography class, where it was like, we had to make Flickr accounts so we could post our pictures. But I messed up. I messed up on making my account name because I accidentally pressed like enter twice, and I couldn't change my name. So I made a second email like Chocolate Thunder because I just thought of it. And then there was a assignment where we had to present through Flickr. We had to log in front of the whole class. So I'm just like, oh no, Chocolate Thunder. Dude, the teacher looked at me. He's like, "Bro, is that your stripper name?" Shambled. It was over. So we got. That's my nickname for all of high school. Everybody, there were teachers that would call me the Thunder. Some people would just call me Chocolate Thunder. They'll call me Chocolate. Whatever. Now, when I went to the story of Choco Taco. Everybody thinks I made the name off of the delicious dessert. The dessert is delicious. Right. It is delicious. Like it's amazing. But that is not why I made the tag. The only reason why I made the tag is because when I went to my first Smash tournament, I was signing up. I'm like, I'm gonna put Chocolate Thunder. But then I started thinking, I'm just like, you know what, this is gonna be kind of lame. It's gonna be kind of lame. I don't want to do that. And I remember, everybody called me Chocolate Thunder except for one person, and he was a chill dude. He was a chill dude, big homie. He tried to act like something he wasn't, but it's okay. And he would call me Choco Taco. So I said that's catchier than Chocolate Thunder, and that is the lore as to why I am Choco Taco. It isn't because of the dessert. It is because I was too embarrassed of my original tag. And I said, you know what? Let me not fold. Let me look a little less cringe.
What do you mean a little less cringe? You're ashamed of your tag. We all had cringe names, man. If you thought your tag was cringe, the black guy gamer, I met Quante because he laughed at my tag.
Oh no, that's
my
exactly
gosh,
how we all met.
Oh no.
I seen that name when searching Super Mario World Let's Plays, and I saw the black guy gamer, and I heard your voice when you started talking on that Let's Play. It was a done deal. I was like, I gotta talk to this person. I don't care. I sent him like a little message. You can't do that on YouTube anymore, and that's kind of upsetting because that's like how I met half my friends. It was like sending people like messages, like PMs.
Yeah.
And we sent them a message, and we were like, "Hey, join our Skype group," and then that's how we became friends.
Oh my gosh, y'all came from the deep world of like Skype groups.
Yeah, like YouTube friends and Skype. What a time, dude! Jesus Christ.
The Wild West that was like early Let's Play days too, before like Markiplier and stuff like that. Like before it changed into whatever it is today, or even back then.
It became fucking video compilations of the guy playing the game. Yeah. So the guy playing the entire game the whole way through.
But I mean, back when you could like edit your banners on the sides and everything, it was like I would always edit mine according to the game that I was playing at the time. So I was like, I play Yoshi's Island. I just put a bunch of Yoshi's Island enemies on the side of each banner. So it was like that was the days, man.
Yeah, those are the days, dude. Where like you designed your layout for when you're about to play the game that you're playing instead of like and you're not streaming to anybody because Twitch didn't exist back then. Well, it did, but it wasn't as like popular or mainstream. So like people like Chugga Conroy and Nintendo Capri Sun, they would always decorate their little recording sessions with like cutesy little stuff and like or like the game they're about to play or whatever. And it was just like it was captivating. It made sense. Now people are just like putting absolutely zero effort, and then it's like bruh.
I mean, they don't really have to put in the effort. I mean, like those two people that you mentioned in particular were like the innovators. I mean, I can't watch them nowadays. Like, and I try to go back to that humor now, and I'm just like, I can't handle it anymore. But back then, they were definitely the innovators. Like everybody wanted to be them or base their humor off of theirs, and they had a lot of imitators. But that was what Let's Plays were back then. It was like whatever they laid the ground rules.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. I remember. I think my outlet to like Let's Plays, it was kind of later than that. I was kind of like, I was a Chugga Conroy dude. Chugga Conroy, if you remember him.
He's like the original lore master. You watch his
Oh
Let's
my
Plays are
gosh.
basically video essays.
Yes.
Like that's how he is.
I think I made it to like episode 40 of his Xenoblade Chronicles thing. I'm just like, this is long. I'm gonna stop watching. But I was there. Every video I watched, I was there for it. Oh my gosh. See, it's crazy to see how much has changed when it comes to how we intake games and everything. Which is actually kind of interesting because that's a little bit on topic today. Because recently, if you've been following the news, if you're following like the waves within the industry, Capcom definitely hit us with a little bit of a bomb recently. They hit us with a video policy. If you guys haven't been keeping up lately, there's been a huge surge of DMCA claims throughout all forms of content, where one of the biggest vendors, Nintendo, has been copyright striking a lot of people. There's a whole music fiasco. I know it hurts you. I know it hurts, but we gotta get through it. We gotta get through it. I know there's a whole music fiasco going on in Twitch. There's a whole music fiasco going on there, and I think Capcom, is one of the first, or maybe not the first, but one of the most notable companies to hit us with something like a policy or a written document of what's right and what's wrong. And in it talks about what content they allow, which they allow most forms of content. They allow most forms of content, with the exception of commentary-less gameplay. Yeah, you can't.
I hate that.
Oh no!
I hate that so much. I listen. If I want to go in Mega Man X6 and see where the light capsules are, and I got some little kid, like, here's Mega Man X6. I don't want to hear that. Like, it has to have commentary. I hate it. Like, why can't I just watch the video?
Yeah, even if it is good commentary or someone that is known for good commentary, like there are moments and times where I just want to sit down and watch tasks, like task video games, or just like watch just like a basic playthrough of the game as a whole, just by itself with nothing. And it's just like the problem with this is that sure, yeah, Capcom definitely has every right to do so with their modernist games. But what kind of policies will happen with the games that have existed for almost 20, 30 plus years? Like Mega Man, like the Mega Man games, or Mega Man X games like Quante said, or like old school Street Fighter, or any other Capcom game that's existed for plus amount of years that already has the content uploaded on YouTube. You know what I mean? The chip's already uploaded. Are they going to get punished for something that wasn't even written down in policy? And even if it is policy, this does not make it law. It's just guidelines and policy.
Yeah.
Well, that's what happened with Nintendo as well. I think people who already had their stuff uploaded got DMCA'd. Like, this was a long time ago too, and they started making their rules. So maybe
Yeah,
that
but
will
like
happen because YouTube's system isn't perfect.
It
Or I
isn't.
guess
YouTube
Twitch
system has
too.
never been perfect. Yeah,
It's
no,
probably
YouTube
the.
system has never been perfect.
It's probably like the one thing I say that YouTube does right is the fact that if it's DMCA-able content, mostly, and it's mostly in the form of music. I'm not too sure about actual like footage. If it's DMCA-able content, they can they give you the option of you can either delete the video or you can not get monetized for this video. So there's a little bit more leeway. There's a little bit more leeway when it comes to that, but it's still a rampant issue. But the reason I bring this up more than anything is because I feel like while I do look at Capcom's and just like I'm not down for this. It does give us it does give us a little bit more freedom than other policies, but I look at this as like a huge shift within the industry because now since DMCA is such a huge issue, now have to make their own guideline. Companies have to make their own guidelines, and I'm not sure whether to be open to what DMCA guidelines are coming out or scared because you have Capcom who's like, you can do mostly everything you've done before, just not some things. Or if you're going to go the Nintendo route where they just DMCA'd all of their fan games. Like hundreds of fan games. Like yesterday. So that's what I'm interested in like dissecting, like looking more into.
It's still scary because the guidelines they're weird to me because you don't know. You have to do like a good amount of research to know what you won't get destroyed for. Because I know there's a thing about the music where they're just like, yeah, you can have content that is Capcom owned, like Capcom owned music, but some of the music also isn't owned by them. So it's like which which songs, like if I'm playing, let's say Third Strike, which of those songs is going to get claimed on my Third Strike stream?
That is
Or
true.
I mean, I know most Mega Man songs might be by the same composers, but it's like the same thing. You just have to watch out, or you're just going to be like, oh, I got to mute my stream now because this song is playing on this particular stage and be silent, or it takes away from the experience. Like, I shouldn't have to. It's watching streams has been different, like a lot lately, because I watch Vinesauce streams. Like, Vinny is one of my favorite streamers. And now every time I watch some of his recent streams, when a certain song comes on, this man's scrambling to like turn the sound down half the time, or so he won't get DMCA'd, and it's crazy. And I don't like that. You have to be so careful, and it seems like they're trying to control things a lot more nowadays, like they did back in the day, like way back in the day, because this is like the '80s or like close to the '90s. I remember when Nintendo, the only source they had for any sort of news was Nintendo Power, and they were like controlling Nintendo. Well, they owned it, so they could control the flow of the news that came out, and that was the only thing people had to look at, like news sources like that. Until third-party media started coming out, and they're just like, oh, we can just import the stuff and report on it ourselves. But before that, all they had was Nintendo Power. So it seems like they're trying to really control that flow again and be like, okay, this you're only going to see what we want you to see, nothing outside, you know. Just have
I
everything
think
under wraps.
I think the problem with most DMCA's in general like that, or creating a set like rules like Capcom did, is that it's very hard for, like, say for instance, people that do fan work. Same thing with like Dragon Ball this weekend too, but like it's very hard for fans or people to record and play the games that they're playing and worry about DMC strike because of the music. Because realistically, like when you like say for instance, if you can record anything and dial it up and down or edit it in some way, shape, or form for it to look completely different, so that bots don't randomly scan around and just like, okay, this is from whatever episode, blah blah blah. We're gonna strike it down. With music, you can't really smuggle music unless you're changing the entire tone of it or the pacing of it. And when you chop it up like that, it's not original anymore. And so the issue with that is that most likely people are just like, oh, well, what can we do to change this? What can we do to make it more immersive or less immersive? You play your own music, or you run the risk of running through different DMCs through their copyright holders of music entitlements, And even so, it's just like, well, what are we gonna do? We're gonna go to SoundCloud now, and then you have to run the risk of SoundCloud rappers or people on SoundCloud being like, hey, that's mine, and they sue you.
What?
You know what I mean? They can definitely do that. Yeah, they can.
Yes.
They can catch you slipping, but like, it's just the main issue with this is that like with what Capcom did, it is appreciative, but it's also very scary because there is no in between guideline of whether it's good or not for me to stream your game and a certain song comes up because I have no power over that. If it's my first, like, let's say for instance, I'm playing Street Fighter Alpha 2,
Mhm.
and all of a sudden Birdie's theme comes up. And Birdie's theme is drastically different from the one it is in Street Fighter 5, composed by somebody else. And the guy was like, I'm evil. I want all the money for this game. And so it's my first time playing the game. It's my first time playing the game. I run to a Birdie player online, and his theme is playing, and I'm like, oh shoot, this is really banging. I like this. And then I get striked for something I wasn't even aware of. Like I have no control over that. That's why when they print out these guidelines and they're saying, hey, or if they come up with a list of like all these games that you can stream with their music on versus the games that you can't and you have to watch out for, there's no way someone's gonna sit down and read an entire catalog of like games or like music lists that you can and can't like play. It's impossible. Just like how it's impossible for someone to scan a bunch of like DMC claim for bot music in general. Like I said before, like I was streaming. I was streaming one time way back like 2 months, 3 months ago. I was streaming someone's random compilation of hip hop instrumental that they made their own by their own two hands. It got DMC struck. Tell me how.
Wow.
So it's a bot that's doing it. It's a bot that's doing it, and that's the main issue. Like Nintendo, obviously, they're going out of their way and they're hiring people, maybe most likely, to go into these places, to go into these apps and take down these sites that have these ROM hacks and stuff like that, obviously. But with music, you lie that to a bot, and when the bot recognizes a certain tone and shift, they'll be like, "Oh, this sounds recognizable to X, Y, and Z." Destroy it.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to dispute those because I think the thing about YouTube specifically is there's also a lot of people that make fake claims. So people will go on videos and be like, "This is mine," and it's not theirs. Like if they don't like you, they can just send you a copyright strike and be like, "Hey, this music in this video is mine," and it's obviously not. But then you have the risk of getting your video taken down, or you have to get in like a really long dispute. And YouTube isn't always particularly fast about those things, or Twitch for that matter. But I guess we're just using YouTube as an example.
That is true.
But yeah,
I think ultimately,
Twitch has just been increasingly becoming more of an issue. You know what I mean, with handling their DMC versus YouTube, which has had plenty of time to learn from their mistakes and still like be like, okay, well, we're trying to tiptoe around, trying to make everybody happy. Twitch isn't doing that. Twitch is not tiptoeing around. They're just instantly just making decisions for everybody, making them not think about anything at all.
Well, they have to. I mean, I hate to say that they have to, but it's like these companies are like, that's how they make their money. So they have to comply. It's like, they're not just going to be like, well, we should do this for our streamers so they can have a better time. They're just going to be like, oh no, I'm going to listen because, if not, then they get sued because the stuff is being streamed on their platform, so they have to do whatever they say. It doesn't matter. It's just the way things work, unfortunately, and it makes it harder for people like us who do stuff like this.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. One of the main things is that it's like it's just the mentality of when I play something on Spotify, it's because I paid for the Spotify and I gained the right to. Well, the mentality that goes on, the whole business mentality, is I paid for the right to play that. Just like when I play a game, I paid for the right to play that game. When you stream it, the only person who paid for that right to play it is me. So that's the mentality that these businesses go. But the problem is, it's a very archaic mentality that it doesn't really fit within today's standards because it can be abused very hard. The music industry is probably one of the most powerful industries we got. It's probably the most powerful industry we got because it's international. And they can still make so much money off of these songs that are from people who are dead a long time ago. But because they are the rights holders of these songs, they want to monetize it and therefore make a huge cut out of it. And then there's the whole issue, And then there's not really a way to fix it because let's say let's say well, I don't know somebody once brought up, well, what if the Twitch streamers use their ad revenue to like give up their ad revenue for the streams, and when they play songs and give it up to the artists. The problem with that is Twitch's whole platform is based off of ad revenue. Ad revenue is one of the main ways they make money. Ad revenue and how much ad revenue somebody generates is so dependent on the person. Me and my five followers are not gonna generate the ad revenue that really makes it worth it.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Especially since I think the biggest problem with DMCA, and Josh sort of touched on it earlier, is it's law. And that's how they prey on people. And so Nintendo was doing it too, is like with the whole Smash Brothers thing and them taking down Big House, is that nobody's going to take their time to read the law. I mean, of course you should, but it's like nobody just knows copyright law like offhand.
Yes.
So, of course, nobody's really going to know the guidelines based off of whatever they're being striked for until it happens. And by that time, it's already too late. And then people, let's say in the Smash community, they can't hire a lawyer. Like, nobody makes enough money to do that. And so that's how they are able to get away with it. Not even just with that particular situation, but it's like, I am not, as an individual, not going to be able to hire a lawyer and be like, let's dispute this claim because Mega Man X4 music was playing in my stream and Capcom wanted a little piece of the action.
It's not feasible.
Like, you can't do that.
It's not feasible at all. It's too much. It's too much money that most streamers.
It's also. Yeah, go ahead, finish.
Yeah. It's just not. It's too much money that no streamer realistically has. Only that top 0.1% that off the top, or even for YouTubers, that top 0.1% where they're making those thousands, maybe millions of dollars. Those are the people that can afford it because it's expensive to get the rights off of somebody, and it's just not feasible.
Yeah, especially with music. Oh, I'm sorry.
It's not feasible for most people because, like I said before, like no one like regular streamers or streamers that are well known, even if they are well known, there's still a percentage of them that still won't win a dispute or claim, even if they try their hardest against a company against any company really, unless they're like literally the top 1%. We touched up on this because the fact of the matter is that, like, say for instance, if Ninja was streaming, right, he's literally the 1% of, well, he is now the 1% of Twitch. He's one of the 1% of Twitch. If he were to stream, right, and all of a sudden he was streaming like a Nintendo video game or whatever, and someone at Nintendo headquarters was like, hey, he was playing the Legend. He wasn't playing the Legend of Zelda or Ocarina of Time, and he was playing the Legend of Zelda or Ocarina of Time music while he was playing Fortnite. You think we should go after him? They're gonna be like, no, that's too much of a hassle because he's definitely going to dispute it in some way, shape, or form. Fuck no. Even though it's obviously true or not, they still won't go after him because they know. Versus someone that's like, around 50, top 25%, know that they're not going to dispute it. It's going to be hard for them to, even though Twitch is very corrupt. YouTube as well, where, depending on, like, if you're a little tiny YouTuber or you're like the 50%, they won't care. But if you're somebody like, I hate bringing this up because he's very popular at the moment, you're someone like Dream, and I know Dream and all the top YouTubers like that, they use stock music, which is free to use on the website. But there has been one point in time that there was a YouTuber that definitely used stock music, and someone claimed it. And because he wasn't the top 1%, he lost the dispute against stock music.
Oh my gosh. Ultimately,
I noticed a lot of VTubers do that too. They all use stock music on their, unless it's music they made themselves, but it's all stock music on their start screens.
It's the safest thing to do. I mean, being in the. I know I learned a little bit about this because because when I went to school for editing. We use a lot of footage. We used a lot of footage like that wasn't our footage, but there's different places that you can go for this royalty-free music, royalty-free sounds, and all these things. There's a lot of things that can get copyrighted. Even just a sound effect that can be copyrighted. So ultimately, I think it's a big shift. We're heading into a very weird and big shift in gaming, which eventually eventually I do see it changing because it's just very anti-consumer. One, and over time, when people get more privy to it, when there's more options, there's already options for royalty free. There's already royalty free options that are just getting better and better. I think when that starts growing more and more over time, the music industry should start getting privy and be like, okay, but maybe we gotta make some changes. But that'll take some time. That'll take a good amount of time to even see that.
I think it's getting anti-consumer, like mainly because the medium has grown so much over the last 30 or so years that it's been around, probably more than that at this point, that people are more accepting of it. And it takes about as much now. I mean, it doesn't take about as much money to make a video game as a movie, but it's like the production value is definitely there. Like, you have to have a lot more resources. Like, you have the people making the music, making the assets for like graphics, pretty much everything it takes to make a video game. All that work gets put into it. And now people are just like, wow, we can throw money at this. And, games are a big thing now. We got the Game Awards, we got all this stuff, like music that's like you can buy and have it physically. It's crazy. And now, people are digging into it, or the companies are, I guess, seeing the value in their own things that they've made, and they're trying to not necessarily take that away, but control how you use it. Basically, just like how we've been using the music industry for the whole example of the video.
Mm-hmm.
And it's stupid because the thing that bothers me the most about we talked about last time, I touched on it lightly, is that you know how Disney, right? Like you can like see clips from a movie from Disney, right, on YouTube, but you'll never ever see any of the songs that are produced that happened in the movie at all, even if it's just a little skit. You know what I mean? Like the Lion King, oh he's big, yep, yep, yep. That garbage. You know what I mean? You'll never see the full song of that unless it's altered in some way, shape, or form.
Hold up, are you sure that wasn't The Land Before Time? You said yep, yep, yep. Where does that happen in Lion King?
It was like when Pumbaa was about to get eaten by Pumbaa was used as bait for the hyenas.
For the hippo?
Remember?
I don't.
But no, but like even a song like that, you know what I mean? Like it can get copy striked, you know what I mean? And so companies are realizing, or game companies are realizing that they can do essentially the same thing with their music. And music is such a fine line where you can't really smuggle music into basically any form of media. It's almost impossible. It's hard. And I understand, most companies would be like, well, we want you to purchase the CD. We want you to buy the original soundtrack. We want you to make sure that you understand, that the music needs to be purchased in order for it to have a medium so that we can generate as much profit as we possibly can. And that's perfectly fine, understandable. But like, look at how music was ran back in the day. You know what I mean? Like, especially like albums back in the day, like let's just say Biggie and Tupac. And
I knew you were gonna do that. I was like, you mean die? Like I was waiting for you to say that, and I was like, you mean literally die over your music?
Yeah,
that's what happened.
Yeah, but I mean, like, but that's a completely different culture shift or whatever. But people were still buying the albums and stuff like that they were releasing. And even though over the course of time, like even though they're dead and they're deceased and there was no contracts for what their music happened, you still can hear certain albums or music on YouTube for free. You can't play it on your own music, but you can still listen to that upload from that person for free. You can still listen to majority of Drake, Future, anybody realistically on YouTube or any media platform that you pay for or you see on for free. The main issue is not the fact of the matter is that music is not as accessible. The issue with companies like Nintendo, Capcom, anybody, video game industry now is realizing that they could be putting a huge capital on something that has been literally so hard to like basically smuggle in any way, shape, or form, and people still will pay top dollar to listen to as a part of the medium that is video games.
Well, they're not providing it. That's the problem.
I know
They
that's
have
the
to
problem.
provide it.
It's not like Sonic Adventure. It's not like Sonic. It's not like the Sonic games back in the day where they would have an entire soundtrack dedicated for the CD. You know what I mean? And Nintendo did too for Super Mario Galaxy. but they didn't do it for all of their games.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like, could you imagine if Super Mario World, you couldn't play Super Mario, the overworld theme for Super Mario World because Nintendo copyright striked it, and they said, "Oh, we put it on the CD right here. We just made it, and you
Actually,
should buy it." So
there is one. I'm sorry, I just have to say that.
Oh my
it
god.
exists. There's even
I know it
there's even a
exists.
remix CD with like jazz remixes on it. I'm pretty sure they did it for 3 and World. I just had to get that out of the way. I'm sorry.
whatever. So these, but still, the fact of the matter is that they're trying to put a medium and a capital on music, and music is such a free form. You can't realistically put a capital on it unless you're trying to claim the music is yours.
Mm-hmm.
That's the issue that I don't think people can understand. Is that, like, it's not like you can walk into a stream and, like, yeah, I made this song, this Kirby song that's playing right now. I made it. You know what I mean? You can make something that sounds similar to it, like Kirby music, and say that you made it and it was inspired by it. But it's like there's a difference, though. You know what I mean? Like, here's a prime example: the entire soundtrack, the Budokai, like Budokai 2, you know what I mean? Before it got re-released, was basically copy, like was basically what's the word I'm looking for? Plagiarized. The entire OST of the original Dragon Ball Budokai 2 OST was basically plagiarized from modern rock and roll themes that happened back in the 90s and 2000s, and they were slightly altered, and no one noticed for about 30, well, not 30 years, for about like 8 years.
I was about to say for like
So Dragon Ball's not even that old.
Like,
good lord.
But I mean, like, yeah, but I mean, like, you know, challengers approaching and hunting high and low sound so alterly similar that if you play them at the same exact time, they have the exact same tempo, the exact same beat, the exact same high and low that it's presenting in the theme. And it's with the entire soundtrack. That's when it becomes a problem. When you plagiarize music, that's when you're supposed to attack the consumer, or you're supposed to attack the person that went after that music. You know what I mean? Like when Drake made "I Like the Cha-Cha," right? When the music first, when Cha-Cha first came out, back in, I think it was like 2016, it was like 2016, 2015. When the music first came out, it took an entire rip from the special stage of Super Mario World.
Oh, he
Nintendo
did that
gone there.
He did that with
Yeah.
He did that with Donkey Kong Country too.
Yes, he
and,
did.
I think was it Cell Phone? I don't know the whole name of the song, but there's like there's a song he made where it's sampled the title screen of Donkey Kong Country 2. And if you like listen to it at the same time, it sounds really similar. So Drake has done that with video game songs multiple times.
Yeah,
but those are samples. Samples are different.
It's a whole different. Yeah, it's a whole different.
Samples are legal. Like, I don't think that he would have gotten destroyed by now, and he also has the money to dispute it. So that's a whole different thing. But
exactly,
that's sampling, and that's different though. That's not just taking the song and plagiarizing it. He's actually like. I don't even know. I'm not a music guy.
That's a whole conversation that, like, I can't even get into because music is way outside of my field.
Yeah.
Ultimately, at the end of the day, gaming is seeing a change. The industry of gaming, the Twitch streaming, the YouTube content creation, all of that is seeing a huge shift. It's seeing a huge shift, and I'm very interested to see what changes are going to be, what is going to change going forward. But when I think of change, you know, I think about. I started thinking about, damn, you know what has changed a lot? The different ways you can, like, consume video games, because, you know, we definitely got, you know, you got your YouTube, you got your Twitch, you got all that. But, you know, when we didn't have Twitch, when we didn't have YouTube, the way we watched video games was a Saturday morning cartoon. I woke up, imagine this, picture this, young Choco about, I don't know, 8, 9, waking up at the crack of dawn on a Saturday morning, I don't know why I would do that because Saturdays are precious. But waking up at the crack of dawn on a Saturday morning, grabbing the remote and putting it super low, and busting out the Mega Man Battle Network NT Warrior. NT Warrior. That was my show.
Oh my god.
That was my jam.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. I forgot that show existed. I forgot that
I
existed. Oh my god.
That was one of my things. I think it was on like on Toon Disney or something like that. Some kind of weird. So one of those weird. No, it was on 4Kids.
4Kids.
Yeah. 4Kids. That's what it was.
That's what they were all on, or like all the. Okay, so I know you're a bit younger. You're younger than us, but when we were at the ripe young age, we had 4Kids, and we had like Sonic X, Kirby right back at you.
Yes, sir.
Mega Man. There might have been one more.
X.
I mean, we were old enough to watch shit like Donkey Kong Country, and that's it.
Yes.
I remember seeing Donkey Kong Country when it was on. I didn't know what it was, and I also didn't think it was real, but it existed, and it's still there.
And those shows were like so. Those shows were so nostalgic. Yu-Gi-Oh too. Yes, Yu-Gi-Oh. Even though it wasn't a video game, it was a card game. But I look at it, I'm just like, wow, how much these have changed a lot. I remember these shows kind of like, you could tell like most video game shows or games based off of, shows based off of games. They were like those cash grab shows that there wasn't an investment into the plot. Not all the time. Not all the time. Very rarely you had those gems. Those gems that were just, so spicy that they stood above the rest. But typically they were just like those cash grabs. And now I remember, I only watched like half of the first episode because I just tuned in. But I remember walking by and seeing my cousin watching Castlevania. And while it is not necessarily an early morning cartoon, or it's an anime if you want to get technical with it, it's just showing that like, wow, games as a medium, it's transcended past just gaming, and two, it's starting to get really good. The production value is going really high. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about like video game cartoons. What do we think of them? What do we think?
I think it depends on the company that handles them, because some things are still really, really bad. Because I know recent stuff has been good, but recent stuff has also been really, really bad. Because speaking of Mega Man, there was a new Mega Man cartoon maybe a few years ago.
Don't remind me.
That one was something. I actually have never watched that, so I can't really talk about it.
Was it the anime where it's just like, yeah, friendship, and it's a dragon cannon, and everyone was beating. That was stupid.
That sounds like Star Force. That's not.
Okay, wait, Hey, we put some respect on Star Force, but the anime was weird. I gotta admit. It was like OVA.
Yeah.
It was like OVA stuff. It's whatever. I remember watching it when I was young. I watched it when I was younger. I'm just like, wow, this is crazy.
I think it's called Mega Man Fully Charged. Was the name of the cartoon I'm talking about? It looks awful.
I know.
Like if you do a Google search and just look at how Mega Man looks, you'll probably immediately start laughing because it's bad.
No.
It's real bad. I like I said, I've never watched it, but I know that like the people that handled it they did not give a flying care about that show. It's like the cash grab thing you talked about, but it's far enough in Mega Man's history that they could have made a good show. Like, just look at him. He doesn't look right. Something's off about that boy.
Hey. Yeah, this is a cash grab. Oh my god, it's like a combination of Mega Man X and like classic Mega Man.
Yeah.
Oh, look at the villains. Look at look at Gatsman.
There's a comic for it too. Like I think the comic is still ongoing. Like the show got canceled because it's obviously bad, but there's a comic for it, and I think Zero is supposed to appear in that comic, but he's like he's a black girl actually. He is weird. It's strange.
It's not Doctor. It's like a combination of. I don't want to. It was on Cartoon Network. I remember this.
Yes, it was on Cartoon Network for like.
Cartoon Network, really?
It was there for like a season.
Yes.
I never watched it. I never watched it because I remember it like getting announced. I saw the picture. I saw the picture of it, and I said, "No, I'm not watching this. I'm not gonna give it my. I'm not gonna give it my time. I'm not gonna give it my time. It's. I don't know how it managed to like. And if the people that like it, then Godspeed to you. You love it. You like it. But
they don't exist.
I remember looking at. Like, I know they made a Mighty Number 9 TV show, and that was also not that great itself. But it's
off the ground.
But it somehow it was better, or like worse. Somehow it was worse than the Mighty Number 9 TV show, and that was, at least in my opinion, it was not the greatest.
Nothing about that. I don't even know what to call it. It's just not great. Mighty Number 9 is it's a video game that exists that came out in 2016.
This we could talk about.
And your name is in the credit.
Oh no! Oh no!
I didn't back that game. I think I backed Ukulele, which I also kind of regret, but I did not back Mighty Number 9. There's a couple games that I wish I could have backed back then, like Shantae, but I didn't do Mighty Number 9. I'm so glad, but that's unfortunate.
Yeah. The thing with video game cartoons as a medium is something that's very captivating, because when you think of like video game cartoons or like your first time getting introduced to the character in general, you learn so much about them, and they fit in that Saturday morning cartoon kind of vibe. Like, my first time actually understanding the concept of Kirby was through the anime Kirby Right Back at Ya. And, you know, like that was on 4Kids, you know. And this is going to sound really outrageous for me to say, but Kirby Right Back at You is probably the best 4Kids era like anime that they had showing on there, period.
But
because all the characters
and what makes Kirby Right Back at You different from the other ones is that I'm pretty sure Sakurai was like a producer.
He was super in
like
Sakurai was like
everything that happened, Sakurai gave the okay for, versus you know, any of the other stuff. So I mean, there's still some whack stuff that happened, like
in the America, Dee getting a southern accent, like
him getting Kirby fired from his job, like stuff like that. Like there's an episode where Kirby goes to work for Chef Kawasaki and DDD gets him fired and he doesn't have a job anymore.
Oh my god,
it's really sad. Like stuff like that.
Yeah, but I mean, it was still very interesting and stuff like that. And like it had 100 episodes, so like it had a defining beginning and end. There were no seasons. Like Kirby Right Back at You was the true formula of Saturday morning cartoon villain. Like King Dedede being the Saturday morning cartoon villain presenting the threat, and Kirby would always come out on top. Even though there were some episodes where I would have a two-parter or whatever, the two-parter would happen inside the episode. Instead of it being like, you know, oh, hey, check it out next time. Unless, like, it was towards the end of the series. And then, like, Sonic X, right? We can all dog on Sonic X.
No.
But here's the thing. The reason why Sonic X lasted so long was not because of Japan. Oh, no. That's our fault. It was one of the most popular shows. We got one. It was one of the most popular shows. Sonic X was supposed to end. After Sonic came back to his original world, there was supposed to be no more continuation. But because the West liked it so much, they commissioned them to make more Sonic X, and the Meta X saga was created. That's why you have all these characters that look so out of place in the Sonic verse. You know what I mean? Like the space aliens, them traveling all over in space and stuff like that. Because they wanted it to be the definitive ending for it. And it was like a good 40 episodes instead of like 20 or 15 for a season. There was like 44 episodes.
Yeah.
It was all bad.
And like
it was all really
it wasn't it was
okay,
the English version. The English version of the series was terrible. But the Japanese version made so much more sense, was more cohesive, and actually had weight behind it. So like people died in the Japanese version. You saw people die. There was a character named Marin who legit, like in the English version, she shows up with Shadow, says goodbye, and then she disappears. But in the Japanese version, she fights to the death with the medics, and you see her die.
Oh my gosh.
Like it's just like it's little stuff like that, that the Japanese like take care of. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like Sonic X wasn't a good series OVA or like English wise. It was terrible, god awful. But like the Japanese version, if you take the time to listen to the Japanese, watch the Japanese story unfold, they actually try to make it work. They actually try to give these characters backstory and reason, and they make Chris sound intelligent in the season 3, like really hyper intelligent. And then you got like Shadow finally coming back. Like in the English version, it's confirmed that Shadow died, but in the Japanese version, Shadow somehow makes it back to Mobius.
Wait, how did they do
And
it?
then there was
I want to know. I like now that you're talking
So-
about it. How did they do that? Because there's no Sonic Heroes in Sonic X. So how did they do that?
wait,
Continuity errors? Continuity
No,
errors?
like I don't think Sonic Heroes existed at that point in time. So how did Shadow come back after SA2 in Sonic X?
in Sonic X, it is explained that Dr. Eggman stole Shadow's body from his universe and found a loophole way
What?
to bring him into their universe. So that like because at the end of Sonic X, Shadow disappeared, but in the Japanese version, he fell to the earth. Eggman found his body, put him in the chamber, and the entire time he was in the chamber, and when they were transferring, remember Eggman being in that stump area? You know what I mean? Like that's where Shadow was. He was just cooped up there, and so he brought Shadow back to their world. They're just like, well, I mean, Eggman didn't really explain it, but he was just like, I just took him from our world because he didn't need to be there anymore. He served no purpose, and so then he started serving Eggman.
I want you to know I don't like you, and I never have.
Did you know the plot for Sonic X was supposed to be taken entirely on Mobius before they changed it to make it more
Yeah, I
rudimentary
saw
for
those
people to have a...
characters. I saw.
Yeah,
I hate it.
Eggman had the Rainbow Crystal Star.
Oh my gosh. Like, I think, like, seeing this right here is kind of why, like, this, one of the interactions from you guys, because I know you guys have opinions when it comes to video game cartoons, but, like, you seeing the way that Black Eyed Gamer talked about Kirby, Right Back at Ya, and Sonic X, it's like, when we had, like, video game cartoons when we were younger, they were, even if they weren't great, because they were not great. There was something very special about them. Like, there was something...
I'll never forget. It's
Here he goes.
No, it's not here we go. It's like, this is just the one memory that I have waking up in the morning because I didn't beat Sonic Adventure 2 yet. I remember waking up, watching the entire Sonic Adventure 2 plot on Sonic X, and I didn't beat the game yet. And when I watched them transform into Super Sonic, I was losing my shit. I couldn't believe it. It was the best episode I ever saw. I ran over to my best friend's house, who was like literally right across the street, and I was like, "Guys, you saw that episode of Sonic X?" And they're like, "Yeah, you saw it, big man." Bro.
Like, I remember, everybody, most people grew up with Pokemon, but like, you kind of watch Pokemon. You watch Pokemon, and then you were just kind of like, yeah, I'm watching this. It's cool to watch, but you don't really follow it. I followed it.
You tell me you didn't follow that stuff with Sabrina when she had them in the dollhouse?
Dude,
and everything was grim for our heroes?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I was there, bro. I remember. There was just something so unique about these cartoon adaptations of video games, and I feel like, while it's super cool that now they're getting the love, they're getting that, like, respect them, or, like, the budgets that they deserve, it is kind of crazy because, like, even though I saw that little bit of Castlevania, it didn't give that same vibe. And maybe that could just be a result of us being older now, because we're adults. We don't got time. We don't got time anymore. But, like, there's not that feeling of, damn, I just want to be a kid again, going from it. And I feel that these older cartoons, these older video game cartoons or adaptations, they really got that feeling. They really gave you that feeling of, yeah, you're a kid, just enjoy it, just watch, just get lost, stuff like that. So I think that's something very interesting about. I think that was always something very interesting from these kinds of cartoons, seeing how like the jump from video game to cartoon really like it really captivated us as kids.
I feel like we're only talking about a specific era of
A
cartoons.
specific
This is
era of
true.
cartoons,
Yeah,
but like
you're only
we're gonna-
talking
we're gonna-
about the you're talking about the mid 2000s and now. We ain't gone back to the 80s. We ain't gone back to the
80s.
early 90s.
Whoa! That's a deep rabbit hole.
Because like,
Oh,
because Sonic, like Kirby and Sonic were not the first video game characters, cartoons that I ever watched. My first ever
it's the
one,
Super
actually,
Mario Brothers Super Show.
Super Show, and it was on VHS, baby. It
Oh,
was on VHS.
Hold up. All toasters toast.
See, and now we're gonna downward spiral.
Listen. We can go deep. We can go deep with this. We can go super deep with this. But
like,
Man, those are fun. I don't care. Here's my thing. It's not bad. I don't care what anybody says. Super Mario Brothers Super Show is the best. Any of the Mario cartoons is good. Those
because it had charm.
It did have charm, but they didn't have anything to go based off of. Nowadays, they don't have an excuse because it's like, look at how many Castlevania games there are. It's like you have plenty of source material to pull from. With Mario, when that show was made, I'm pretty sure it was only up to Mario 2. What were they gonna do? They couldn't do anything.
they had to make stuff.
We're gonna make an episode where Mario pulls out a carrot and he's like, "Here's my red hot metal detector." Or red hot pepper detector, excuse me.
My red hot pepper detector.
Oh my
Find that
gosh.
lousy Koopa. Like you got King Koopa. Like Bowser, like that's like, you know how corny 80 villains were, you know what I mean? Like Skeletor and the villain from Power Rangers or whatever.
Yes.
Like King Koopa was a combination of all the corny evil characters that you could combine into one. Like he would have an insult for everything, bro.
He was
Those
like
pesky
King K. Rool.
plumbers.
He was
Yeah,
King K.
he
Rool
was King
before
K.
he was
Rool.
King K. Rool, yeah.
But yes, exactly. He was King K. Rool before King K. Rool.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, dude.
He's big and green.
Big and green and big and mean. Those simple simps always ruining my cool-tastic plans.
I can't.
And they
Oh
didn't
my
have,
gosh.
they didn't have anything to work with. They were just like, two brothers trying to save a princess from a giant evil monster. Let's make them Saturday morning called villain of the day.
You want to know
every
Toad's,
day.
You want to know Toad's lore for that show because they didn't have anything? Toad delivered pizzas and he was a street rat, and Peach found him. She was like, "I want you to work for me," and that's why Toad is her advisor, because she thought that he was smart because he was working for pizza.
What, you're telling me that Toad was just a random dude off the street? He was just bumming it?
Yeah.
He was a street thug.
He was just bumming it?
Yeah.
Wait,
That's why he's there.
I think I like this lore a lot more than Toad's just being this whole race of annoying little people. I love it.
I mean, there are more of them later, but
There's
that
more of them.
particular Toad he's something.
All in
And
all,
the Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog is like, well, those two, the Super Show and the Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog, is like peak video game cartoon for me specifically.
Mhm.
But the Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog is some of the funniest shit I have ever seen in my entire life. You just have
What
to
have you
watch-
done with
the position Eggman gets in when he says that is so bad.
Oh my god, dude! Like it's just like there was so much love and care put into like the animation for all like the main characters and all the side characters too. But like you see, like in the Super Show, they focused on like making Bowser repulsive. But in the Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog, they decided to flip that narrative. They're just like, how can we make this villainous egg-shaped villain appealing? So they made him appealing. to
They
look
didn't make
at.
him
Every
appealing.
time you see
No,
Eggman,
they
it's
didn't.
always a pleasure to see him.
No, you know what you see every time you look at him.
It's his butt.
I want-
Hey,
Say it.
huh? He's cartoon's sexiest man.
Cart-
That's
The ideal male body.
That's the ideal male body. He has big butt.
oh my
Big butt.
gosh. All in all, video game cartoons. I'm kind of glad they're around. I'm kind of glad they changed, but there's something really wholesome, really like memorable as from these older shows. Now, switching it up a bit, it's time for the deep dive. I've been holding this one. I've been holding this one in the back pocket for a little bit, because I'm a firm believer that games can have an impact on people's lives. I think that for a lot of gamers or a lot of people who are like avid within gaming itself, they were casual at some point, but then there was something that pulled them in. There was that game that had an impact, and I really want to know, Lord Master, Black Eye Gamer, Kendall Kawante, I want to know, what was that game for you? What was the game that has the most significance to you? What is that game that, like, when you think of, this is the reason why I play games, or this is what pulled me into the craze? What is that game for you guys? I want to know.
I feel like our answer is like the same.
Yeah.
But it's Super Mario World.
Mm-hmm.
So that was it for me. I mean,
think
I
it was
don't
just
know what
like-
your exact answer is, but that's like, without a doubt, the first thing that comes to mind for me.
I think it was just like all the other games, like because like during that time period, like I played a lot of video games I played like other video games as well, like Sonic mostly, but there wasn't a game like Super Mario World that was as fun, captivating, and just like I said, plain old around just fun as a kid. I spent hours and hours and hours playing that game for days at a time when I would come after school, and like it's just one of those games I literally got lost in, and I could appreciate the actual gameplay that's going on, because it wasn't Sonic, it wasn't Zelda, it wasn't these other mainstream games that were coming out. It was something that I could truly appreciate because of its amazing platforming, the abilities, the power-ups, the secrets, you know what I mean? And like I played both versions. I played on the SNES and on the Game Boy Advance. And when I when I was a kid and I said I could play this game on the go,
Mm-hmm.
and it's fun. But aside from screen crunch and also compressed crunch music, it was still fun. So like, and during that time period, it was just like, this is it. This is the video game made for me, I feel. And that's when I started asking my parents, hey, let me play more video games. That was the lead in, because during that time period, there were other things that was more interesting to me.
Mm-hmm.
Drawing, making comic books, cartoons and stuff like that. I liked drawing as a kid when I was younger. Yard work, because I was a bum. You know what I mean? But like video games was that hobby that I stuck with because of Super Mario World. And
Yeah, I
that's
feel
the
like-
game that was made for me.
I could describe it a little bit differently, but you know how the feeling you get, just imagine it, when you get your Switch for the first time, and that first game you get, which was probably everybody's first, was Breath of the Wild.
Mm-hmm.
And just think about going into that world for the very first time and exploring everything, trying to find all the secrets, trying to do everything you can to see that game inside and out. That was Super Mario World for me. I mean, we didn't have that sort of technology back then, but that was the way I genuinely felt when playing that game. And I know that analogy probably sounds like a bit of a stretch,
Mm-hmm.
but that game was so, at least to me when I was a kid, so massive. And I wanted to see like every level in that game. I wanted to find, all the secret exits so I could unlock every level and see every piece of the map, because you can press start on the map screen, and everywhere that you see, you can go to. It's like you might see a landmass somewhere, and you're just like, oh, I wonder if there's a level there, and there might be some weird way to get to it, and then you eventually find out what's over there, and you're just like, oh man, this is pretty cool. And there's just so much to see, so much to do. And Yoshi's in that game. I really, really like Yoshi. He was one of my favorite characters when I was a kid. And there was just so much about that game that was just magical to me when I was growing up. I mean, it was probably, I think it was the first game I played. I can't remember, but it's definitely the first game I remember playing, and it had a really big impact on me,
Mhm.
just as an individual, and playing video games. So I really love that game. I still love it to this day, and it's
Me
probably
too.
will forever be like my favorite game of all time.
That's awesome to hear. That's awesome to hear. I love hearing these little stories. If I have to say for myself, I'm gonna say. So it wasn't my first game I've ever played. I've definitely been playing games for a long time, but it was a game that really had a lasting impact on me, and it was the original Tales of Symphonia. The original Tales of Symphonia. It was for the GameCube. It was a two. It was a two or three disc game. 2 or 3 disc game, and basically it was like the first half of the game is on the first GameCube disc, second was on the second GameCube disc, and like post game was on the third or something like that. And that was when GameCube games were like they can only hold so much game. So, but I remember I borrowed it from a friend. I played the second game before the first game came out, and he let me borrow it. And I made a rule because it was a multiplayer game. I would play it at home alone so I can do my single player playthrough, go through it, and then I'd play it. And whenever I went over his house, we made a separate save file for we can all put so me and the homie can play. And you know, getting into the game, I already played games before that, but when I got into this game, it throws you in and it hits you with like these themes that you didn't think gaming would have. You wouldn't think that it would be this deep for something like that. I remember the game starts, and the first thing they establish is in the world. There in the world. There's different races in the world. These people called the Designs. Now they are kind of like the ruling class, or in a sense, they're very reminiscent to the Nazis. They're kind of, and basically, there's persecution of half elves, where they put them in their anything called it was I forgot what they're called, like a half elf farm or something like that. It's like a concentration camp. That was at the time I was learning more about history, and I was just like, oh my gosh, there's parallels. So I'm going through it, and it's tackling all these deep questions, challenging the beliefs of other people, what you would give up you would give up to save the world. What are you willing to give up what are you willing to sacrifice just to make sure that everybody else is fine? Couple that with some of the most fun gameplay I've had, and there was just these moments where I'm playing with my friends. You have my friend. He's the mage. I always pick the sword character. Lloyd Irving. That's my boy. That's my dog. But I would always play him. He's just like, cover the enemy. I'm gonna do a spell. He's doing like a long charge spell, and then it's like, bro, heal me. It was just so fun. I remember going to his house after school, just playing for hours, and then we all like when we finally beat the game, it was like we popped off, and then we're just like, now let's do New Game Plus, and we just went at it again. And I played that game like 6 or 7 times through. It's a long ass game, so that's a long ass game that took about like it's like a minimum of between 60 and 80 hours. 60 and 80 hour experience. And that game, why it was so impactful to me is because it showed me that games could be something like they can be something that you just have fun with, but it can also be something like much more than just like something you just kill time with. Like the fact those hard to like think about themes that really showed me that gaming can be just as deep as like a book, or just as like visually appealing as like a movie or a TV show and everything. I think that's why I think that game is so impactful to me personally.
Yeah, and it's I think the most important takeaway from that for me wasn't only the game, but you said you enjoyed it with your friend. And I think that's a really important aspect because who you enjoy those games with can enhance the experience a lot more than it would if you were enjoying it by yourself.
Mm-hmm.
By
Because
yourself. Yep.
you're creating memories,
Absolutely right.
and certain memories will stay with you forever. And that's also how I met like my absolute best friend. I'm still friends with him to this day. His name's Eric. I remember I had to move to like this brand new neighborhood. It was like a really big. There was a lot of kids everywhere, and I remember like the first day we moved there, I was just walking around trying to check out everything, see what was there. And there's this kid, and he just starts walking towards me, and I'm like, "Who was that?" And I was trying to look around, see if he was going anywhere. He's coming towards me, and he's just like, "Hey, you like Mario and Zelda?" And I was like, "Yeah." I mean, I hadn't played Zelda before. I was like, "Yeah, I like Mario." He's like, "You should come to my house." And up to that point, I was like probably in second grade, but I never lived around other kids, so this was like brand new to me. And I go to this dude's house, and he has a GameCube, and I'm like, "Oh, I have a GameCube too." And we start playing like Melee and like all sorts of games that he had. And then it was like the first time where I really made like a friend through video games, and that was how we connected. And even to this day, we're like, I'm 25 now. I went to his wedding. Like we've lived a whole life together just because we played Smash Brothers together one time. It's like
Mm-hmm.
it's crazy, and so he's still my best friend to
Yeah.
this day. But
It's the same
it's
thing. That's the
amazing
same
how
thing I
that
can say about Brett
connects you.
Samuel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's the same thing I could say about Brett and Samuel too. Like the only reason why I got into video games was literally because of them. Because like I said before, like I did have the neighbor, but like I really got reassured back into it, and like the fact of the matter is that they let me borrow their SNES. They let me borrow their Super Mario World copy. They let me. That we would come over and we would play and stuff like that. And even though they weren't really super skilled in platforms, it was just like we would watch each other play video games, and like I didn't really mind watching people play because I would do commentary with them, or we would talk about some BS, or like look at that hungy on the screen. You know what I mean? And like you definitely create memories with people that way. And like when you were talking about that, I was just thinking about like how many times I would come over to their house and we would all take turns playing a video game for an hour and a half, single player video games, and I would always play Super Mario World just because I wanted to complete it. And like, even though I was drinking all kinds of ass and dying, it was still fun to play the game and listen to them talk with me and commentary and stuff like that. And even to this day, I would love to come over. I did back in the day when I come back home from college and just sit down and we would just like, my Samuel's just like, we want to sit down and just chill on the couch and like play video games. So I was like, I just want to chill on the couch. You want to play Ocarina of Time for old side's sake? And I'll watch him play Ocarina of Time. And even though like there are other games and stuff like that where they definitely have more of an impact where it comes to the connection of the community that I've basically been around with, Melee and the Zelda series where you teaching me, about lore and stuff like that. It was just really nice just to be around people, and play the games with somebody that, can have that kind of connection with you. And God, that was simpler times, man, where you could just walk up to somebody when you're like a little bab and just be like, "Hey, I like video games," and you're like, "Yeah, I like video games too."
Can't
that was
do
a
that
simpler
anymore.
time.
Like this dude literally just walked up to me. I don't even know how he found me or what he was doing. He just he was walking around too, I guess, and he asked me if I like games. I wouldn't feel comfortable if I was a parent. I'm like, who's this person? Like, why are you bringing who is this? Yeah, you don't know what he's gonna do, especially since I'm a little black boy. Eric's white. I mean, you never know, and they just invited me into their house.
It could be gone.
Yeah, like I could have stole all his games. I could have walked away with a treasure trove. You never know. But they were really hospitable. Like they fed me dinner. That was another thing that caught me off guard. They were just, I think it was like spaghetti. I don't know why I remember that specifically. I guess it was because I had never seen. They were like little bow tie noodles, and I was just like, "What is this?"
Luxury.
Bro, I remember one story that like really one story one day when I came over to play some Tales of Symphonia with my boy. I remember walking in. It was like I wasn't planning to go over, but like I think my mom had to work late, and she's just like go over to his house and stuff like that. And I remember going in and saying hi to his mom and stuff like that. And then like an hour passes over us playing. She's just like, "Hey, I got something for y'all to eat." I'm like, I mean, I didn't expect to eat anything, but thanks, bro. And I swear to you, it wasn't like, you know, usually they'll like offer like a meal. No, they offered us like pie. But like, you know, it's every kid's dream to get like dessert randomly from people. But like, I remember getting like this big old half of the pie. It wasn't like one small slice. It was like a gargantuan slice of pie. And I remember it was the best pie ever. And then we finished that, and we're just like, okay, we're kind of tired of playing Tails. Let's play a little bit of Smash. We're kind of tired of playing Smash. Let's play some Kingdom Hearts. And we just had fun. And I think ultimately, I'm really glad you guys like shared. I'm really glad you guys shared that, because it exemplified to me that like at the end of the day, gaming is this beautiful thing where we can like really we meet a lot of different people. We meet a lot of different people. We can have these unique experiences, and like I feel that because of gaming, it kind of shaped how I grew up, how I act, the people I met, especially the people that I met because of it. So I'm glad you guys shared that, because I like really analyzing to see how impactful gaming is to everybody. It has an impact, and I love it.
It's like, you know, it's like I said before, like I would have never met Quante if he didn't laugh at my username tag and I randomly uploaded like a Let's Play of Super Mario World, and then it snowballed from there. I would have never met you if I, you know, the same thing. It's the same thing too. I was like, there's a lot of people that I've met through video games in general that are like I'm really, really close with because of gaming. Like I'm more close with y'all than I am with my teammates, and I was with them for a lot longer than you guys were apparently. But like, you know, like even the teammates that I've known for like a long period of time in high school or even college, really, like I can only realistically like put 5 people on my hand from college ball that I can call anytime and ask them how they're doing and all that stuff like that. But like, there's so many people from, you know, the Smash community, and then there's like Quante's group, which is Boogaloo Shrimp, and you know, people that I met through FAU. You know, like gaming has definitely opened that gateway. And who says that, you know, meeting these new people has to stop? You know what I mean? Because like you still can introduce yourself to a whole new cluster of people. Like I'll say, it's gonna be soon. We're gonna be Nathan's, and we're gonna be talking.
Wait,
remember Nathan?
What?
Nathan was old. Yeah, we're gonna be Nathan soon. We're gonna be 30 years old at one point, and then we're gonna be talking to some like bean dip who's
Nathan
like still
was
in high
only,
school.
He was only a year older than us.
How'd
Yeah,
you get that wrong?
he's probably the same age you are now.
I thought Nathan was old as fuck.
No, he wasn't. Yeah. I mean, he was like, he was definitely older, but not like that. Not like you're making it. He's like,
No, he finished high school before we did though.
no,
He was my age.
Miss Majora was like our mom. Like she was older than we were.
Miss Majora was the mom. Yes, exactly.
But not like
she was like 21, and we were like we were like in high school.
we were like 16.
Yeah.
And that sounds bad when you put it that way, just considering the.
But I mean, like, not like, you know, not how it is now, but like,
yeah,
it still doesn't matter though, because
like, it wasn't even that. Well, I want to say it's not that long ago, but it was almost 10 years ago.
Yeah,
so,
yeah,
time
flies now.
It doesn't feel like it was that long ago though. Like it doesn't feel like I just met you guys, but it also doesn't feel like I've been interacting with you on the internet for almost 10 years.
It doesn't feel like I've been talking smack with you for 10 years, Quante. That's one thing for sure.
It's been a long time. Even
sure.
My mom asks sometimes, she's like, "Do you still talk to those same people?" And I'm like, "Yeah." Like pretty much almost every night too. It's like it's just been a thing that like I've always done since high school. You started with Skype. We're on Discord now. We're gonna go wherever it takes us next. But you know, we've been at it for a long time.
Until someone gets old and then they get married and then we never see them again. Jesse has not pulled that yet. I'm very surprised.
Well, that's because he has a gamer wife. I feel like if you don't have that sort of connection, it's probably harder to tap into
To
that.
have that, yeah.
Yeah, to have that lifestyle.
By the way, AJ, I know you feel kind of excluded because it's a two kind of thing. Jesse was a beta male. Okay, I love Jesse, but Jesse always got vaporized all the time. Why? What am I doing wrong, Conte? It's not fair.
Oh my!
It's not fair.
Wait, that he's married and you're not?
No.
I think, you know what? I think that's a good point. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to this stream. I really appreciate it. Today's podcast was a very fun one. For the people that don't know, where can they find you guys? Quante?
Twitch.tv/LoreMaster95 and same with the Twitter handle.
Okay.
At LoreMaster95.
Mm-hmm. What about you, the Black Guy Gamer, defeated Black Guy Gamer?
Twitch.tv/the Black Guy Gamer. And you can check out my Twitter at Dr. Black Guy Gamer. Don't spell doctor, it's just DR and Black Guy Gamer. Also check me out on YouTube at Dr. Black Guy Gamer, where I do random videos. What?
I love the voice. And oh my gosh! And for those of you guys watching, I do want to advertise that we are now posting every podcast on the YouTube channel. On the YouTube channel, Gamers Grind. That's right. We have a YouTube channel now. If you want to keep up to date with any updates with the stream, you can find it all on my Twitter page, twitter.com/ChocoTacoFGC. And I tend to stream about 3 to 4 days a week throughout most nights on twitch.tv/ChocoTacoFGC. This has been the Gamers Grind podcast. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We will see you guys next week when the grind continues. Have a wonderful night.